All right, welcome back everybody. My name is Pritesh here with Kaizen Crypto, bringing you another video. So I hope you guys are all doing well. Thank you all so much for joining me here today. In this video, the cFund Cardano Ecosystem Venture Fund announces its first VC investment in Kadi. Also, Cardano reveals its first supply chain solution in association with ScanTrust. Taking a look in more detail, boosting network decentralization with peer-to-peer. And last up, for those of you all who stay till the very end, giving you all my thoughts on the Cardano price point on the weekly time frame. Looking at ADA USD, giving you all my thoughts on some fundamental and technical analysis. So lots of interesting content coming up here in today's video. All that coming up right after our sponsor. Our sponsor for today's video is Azul Brazil Pool. Their goal is to raise $2,000 in donations to NGOs by the end of 2021. 30% of monthly rewards are going to NGOs who are directly supporting wildlife preservation. Transparent donations and all information are updated on all of their social networks, and you can keep up to date with all of their progress by subscribing to their social media. So if you're interested in helping to support wildlife preservation while also growing your ADA, be sure to delegate to Azul Brazil Pool, ticker ADABR. Thank you so much to Azul Brazil Stake Pool for sponsoring today's video. So to get things started, we see the cFund, which is a Cardano ecosystem venture fund, announces its first VC investment in Kadi. Now, one of the use cases we've seen for Cardano partnering with Kadi is something called ADA Pay, essentially making it simple for merchants to accept ADA as payment. So very important as it relates to the mainstream adoption for Cardano. Going into some details in relationship to this news, the cFund is excited to announce its investment into Kadi on an equity-based deal to accelerate the integration and deepen the cooperation between Kadi and Cardano. The cFund is managed by Wave Financial and anchored by IOHK. So what we've seen recently from Kadi is they're working on a solution for merchants to accept ADA as payment, known as ADA Pay. So this is a big step as it relates to the mainstream adoption for Cardano. In my opinion, I think that this is really nice to see that now Kadi is receiving funding from this cFund, now giving them the resources that they would need to build about all the tools and solutions required for seeing these point of sale solutions for merchants to accept ADA. So really excited to see that. I also wanted to talk briefly about Cardano revealing its first supply chain solution in association with ScanTrust. So we saw back in 2020, the Cardano Foundation had come up with a solution for anti-counterfeit known as ScanTrust. What this did was essentially create a way for goods to be verified using the blockchain. And what they're saying from this article is that the Cardano ScanTrust solution allows brand owners to leverage the traceability and targeted data functions of ScanTrust's physical secured QR codes, together with the speed and low cost of the Cardano blockchain for supply chain traceability and anti-counterfeit use cases. The live implementation of the supply chain solution, first revealed in December 2020, is complete and is already being successfully used in a proof of concept implementation with Georgian artisan wine producer Buys Wine. Now, it doesn't necessarily have to be just wine. What we're seeing from Cardano is all sorts of things as it relates to traceability, verifiability. If you think about what we're seeing with Atala Prism, recently Charles Hoskinson gave an update on the Cardano roadmap, talking more about Atala Prism and decentralized IDs. This, as it comes to supply chain and logistics, is going to be the representation of that, but for goods and services. So it's very interesting. You can do what you have with Atala Prism and verify credentials on the blockchain, just like you would be able to the authenticity of something like a Louis Vuitton handbag or a Rolex watch. So it's a very interesting concept that they're coming out here with ScanTrust. As it relates to bringing transparency to the supply chain, the International Chamber of Commerce expects the global cost of counterfeit goods and piracy to reach $4.2 trillion by 2022. In many countries, consumers can't even be 100% sure that the products they are buying are actually genuine. What comes to my mind in this instance is if you were to, say, purchase a luxury items such as a Louis Vuitton handbag or a Rolex watch or Gucci or anything like that, as it comes to high-end name brand items, nowadays, especially with online shopping being the norm, so how are you able to verify the authenticity of something like one of these name brand items? So that is what they're intending to bring here with this solution known as ScanTrust, essentially implementing QR codes with secure, trusted hardware to be able to verify the authenticity of these products and services. So really cool to see all the developments happening here with ScanTrust. We even got to hear some remarks from Frederick Grigard, the CEO of the Cardano Foundation, who said that empowering trust and transparency across all industries and digital agreements is at the heart of the Cardano Foundation's missions. He is proud of their integrations team, who has worked tirelessly with ScanTrust to deliver the first solution of its kind to leverage metadata on the Cardano blockchain. Together with ScanTrust, we are helping brands to reconnect with their consumers, increase transparency in their supply chain, and fight counterfeit activity. ScanTrust helps solve complex international supply chain problems for Unilever, ExxonMobil, Remy Cointreau, DuPont, Syngenta, among others. The Cardano metadata connector developed by the Cardano Foundation is a promising technology that has the potential to benefit such clients towards cutting costs, increasing operational efficiency and transparency in the supply chain tracking industry, and providing a basis for direct consumer engagement. That is absolutely the goal and mission behind this ScanTrust solution. Just simply using metadata on the Cardano blockchain is a way to verify the authenticity of these goods and services. So really interesting news we see from the Cardano Foundation talking more about their supply chain solution. Before we move on to our next topic, this just in breaking news, we see that Project Catalyst has now lowered the voting threshold to just 500 ADA. This means that in Fund 4, users with 500 ADA in their wallet can register to vote. So we have seen a considerable drop in the amount required to be able to participate in voting, going from 8,000 down to 3,000 in Fund 3, and now in Fund 4, looking at just 500 ADA. I will be sure to keep you all posted with these developments as it relates to Project Catalyst. Now, voting registration will begin on April 13th at 1900 UTC time for Fund 4. Voting will then begin on April 22nd at 1900 UTC. As this affects only the length of the voting window, this Fund 4 is still on track. So if you haven't done so already, please be sure to check out the Cardano.ideascale website. This is going to be where you can go to get signed up to participate in Project Catalyst. Next up, talking more about the P2P development. Now we see with D equals 0, 100% of the blocks on the Cardano blockchain are being produced by community stake pools. The next step in the evolution of this network decentralization is peer-to-peer. Taking a look at this IOHK article, we see here that some more details are given to what this actually looks like for the entire network. Since the introduction of Shelley, the system has been functioning in a hybrid mode where nodes connect to federated relays and other stake pool operators. Now that we have reached full decentralization in terms of block production, it is also essential that the network connectivity is decentralized as well. Cardano will achieve this through a shift in peer-to-peer. So if we go over just a very high level of what all these are, block fetch draws information from the chain database. Chain sync synchronizes fetch data across the network, and transaction submission 2 consumes transactions from peer mempools and adds them to local mempools, which enables peers to submit their transactions to the node. This is a modification of the current transaction submission protocol. These many protocols support the Ouroboros consensus protocol. To ensure optimal networking service, the team has implemented additional protocols. What we see now being implemented is something known as Keep Alive. This ensures continuous connection between nodes and minimizes performance faults, as well as tip sample. This provides information about which peers offer better connectivity in terms of performance. So we have a few different things being talked about as it relates to the protocol layer for something like peer-to-peer. The networking team has implemented a bidirectional aware connection manager that integrates with the peer-to-peer governor, which is currently undergoing final testing before deployment. Giving some more information on the peer-to-peer governor functionality, as discussed in Cardano's path to decentralization, peers are mapped into 3 categories. We see cold peers, warm peers, and hot peers. And taking a look at this image, we can see a description of what each of these represent. As it relates to peer-to-peer discovery on Cardano, the peer-to-peer governor manages connections and provides information on which peers are active and performing well. The governor promotes or demotes peers between cold, warm, and hot states, and also interacts with the connection manager to open new connections or reuse existing ones. What we can see from this roadmap is that we are in step 1, where we see the internal peer-to-peer testnet taking place in early Q2. Next, we are going to expect the invitation for public peer-to-peer on the testnets for SPOs. Really, what's going to happen there is that the SPOs are going to go hammer on this peer-to-peer network and try and break it, essentially just trying to figure out all the problems and all the bugs with the current setup that we have on the testnet, so that it's a seamless transition when we see this rolled out on the mainnet. After that, we'll see the partial mainnet deployment for SPOs and automation. And after that, we'll see the full mainnet deployment, which will bring about something called Gossip, which will provide seamless data exchange between peers and help construct a decentralized communication map. And lastly, in step 5, we'll see a staged migration to full deployment, so Ouroboros Genesis deployment in parallel. So with this, it's a big rollout, it's a big process to get this implemented correctly. And I think that a lot of smart people are currently thinking about all the implementations required for Cardano. And last up, for those of you all who have stayed till the very end, giving you all my thoughts on some technical analysis. Here we can see a weekly time frame price chart. Big thank you to Cardano Dan for keeping us up to date on the technical analysis for ADA USD. Now, as far as being invested into the Cardano project, we are not looking at investing in ADA from an hourly or a daily time frame. I think that the best perspective to be had from these charts is going to be from the longer term time frames. So here we have the ADA USD chart on the weekly time frame. And what's very interesting to note about this chart is that back from our previous all-time high, we see this massive wick at the end of 2017, beginning of 2018, and the Cardano price shot up all the way to, looks like about $1.25 before being heavily rejected downwards, and then began that bear market. We saw a life-changing opportunity take place here for almost 2 years, right? So if you are considering the fact that you are here now, think about what's truly possible, right? Because back here, we didn't have Shelley, we didn't have Goguen, smart contracts, all these things, Voltaire, voting, governance, these things are now happening, and we see that reflected in the price. And what happened just very recently, over the course of 1 month, we went from about 30 cents to breaking upwards and touching about $1.50. Here we are consolidating, forming a very, very nice pattern. Looks like on the longer term time frame, some type of triangle consolidation pattern. And what's something to note is that this consolidation is happening above this previous resistance. If we consider the candle bodies, this is all happening above the previous resistance we saw here over at about $1 in regards to the candle bodies. So really interesting to see that. I think that what's going to happen with the price of Cardano, what we have is a bullish run up in price followed by a strong consolidation above previous resistance, leading us to potentially see a continuation of the trend, potentially targeting $2 to $3 ADA. So guys, that is what I'm looking at here in the charts. I think that what we're expecting very soon with the inevitable rollout of Goguen with the Alonzo hard fork, also talking about all the crazy things happening with tokens, and what's very interesting to see now is Voltaire. Lots of amazing things happening with the Cardano community as well. So I am very excited about the future of Cardano and looking forward to all of the amazing developments happening very soon later this year. So guys, that is what I have for you all here in this video. I really do hope that you enjoyed it. Hopefully you do find some value from this type of content. If you did enjoy it, please be sure to drop a like for me before you head out today. If you haven't done so already, and if you enjoy this type of content, please be sure to hit that subscribe and click that notification bell so you know exactly when I post a new video. All right, everyone, that is what I have for you all here in this video today. Thank you all again so much for watching. I really do appreciate all of your support, and I will see you all in the next video. Take care.
PriteshGosai.